Hattiesburg. Thanks for joining us for this Friday afternoon briefing for COVID-19 and other city news. We'll go over today's numbers. We'll look at some statewide information. We will talk about some non-related city news and, of course, our regular act of courage. Today's numbers, these are system-wide for all four of our healthcare organizations. It includes Forrest General's 18 counties, Merritt's, Forrest General's 19 counties, Merritt's 18 counties, Cimarron Hattiesburg Clinic's catchment area as well. To date, 27,350 tests have been conducted. 2,624 of those have come back positive. 23,307 have come back negative. We have 1,375 tests which are pending. Right now in the hospital, between Merritt Health Wesley and Forrest General, we have a combined 62 people who are confirmed COVID positive, with another 25 under investigation. That's 12 over where we've been the last 2 weeks. Right now in the ICU, 26 patients between Merritt Health Wesley and Forrest General are positive for COVID, well over the average for the last 14 days. And this is how it's sort of laid out. You can kind of see the real upward trend that we've seen in hospitalizations. We're 1 or 2 down from yesterday, but our ICU admissions are continuing to go up. I will say, I know we've said this a few times this week, our local hospital system now has the highest number of COVID-positive patients thus far in the ICU. We are 1 down in the hospital, but highest number yet for ICU. Right now, new positive cases, 33 Forrest County, that's new positives today. Obviously, that's a very high number for us. LAMAR County added 20, which brings our total metro area to 53. That's even with the 1,500 tests that are still pending. To date, 972 in Forrest County, LAMAR County is at 522, 1,494 for the metro area. This is the 5-day average where we take the number of new positive cases on a given day and when we average it with the 2 days prior and the 2 days after. As you can see, Forrest County is not at its highest point yet. We are reaching that middle of May peak that we had. However, when you take into account Lamar County's increase, we are, in terms of the 5-day average, we're hitting some new ground, and not in a good way, between 30 and 35 right now for the entire Hattiesburg area. One other statistic we look at is the number of people whose tests have come back positive within the last 14 days. This doesn't necessarily mean they're still under quarantine, but this means their test has come back in the last 14 days, and it gives us a kind of a really rough estimate of the number of potential active cases we have in our community right now. And right now in Forrest County, that number is up to 204. Again, 10 days ago, we were right at 100. In Lamar County, that number is up to 151. And so looking at these things combined, the gray line is the metro area inside 14 days since the beginning of April. The blue line is Forrest County. The orange line is Lamar County. And there was a brief time at the end of June that Lamar County was a little bit higher than Forrest County. They have switched again. And for a while, we were still taking comfort in the fact that we hadn't hit that mid-May peak that we had, where Forrest County's inside 14-day number got up to 200. But we're at 204 now, so we've blown past that. Lamar County, of course, hitting new ground at 150, which that gray line is considerably higher than it's been. Potentially 350 active cases in our 2 counties right now. This is important to remember because as we go forward, we're trying to limit those number of active cases because the more that we can keep people from getting infected, the more that we can protect our vulnerable populations, people over the age of 60, people with underlying chronic health conditions. It means we can also prevent overrun of the healthcare system. We showed you a little while ago that hospitalizations and ICU hit new numbers this week. So we want to make sure that we're trying to limit that inside 14-day because that will keep that overrun of the healthcare system from happening. And of course, prioritizing public health while giving the private sector the space it needs to operate. 4 factors that we continue to rely on is widespread availability of testing. We know that there's a backlog right now in terms of processing those tests at the private labs that we are using, which means we, again, have 1,500 pending tests. Wearing of masks continues to be a thing that we really push, watching our own data and, of course, listening to all voices. One of those voices, of course, is the state level. Today they reported 1,031 new positive cases statewide. Of course, 53 of those were in Forrest and Lamar counties. There were 11 new deaths. The one thing that we haven't seen in the last 10 days to 2 weeks, we haven't had a new death in Forrest or Lamar County, but we have a lot of people in the ICU right now, and so we have to keep an eye on that. One thing that happened yesterday in Governor Reeves' briefing is he issued Executive Order 1507, This puts a mask order, and it brings back the limits on social gatherings to 10 indoors, 20 outdoors for 13 counties. That did not include Forrest or LAMAR counties at the time, but I do want to issue this word of caution on that. One of the criteria they use to decide which counties is counties that have had an increase of 200 within the last 14 days. And of course, if you looked at our numbers today, Forrest County 204 in terms of inside 14 days, so we could very well be added to that list. Of course, Hattiesburg already has a mask order, but it would limit the social gatherings to the lower number if the Department of Health sees that Forrest County needs to be brought into that, and LAMAR County is right behind us as well. And so this is a weekend that we really need to make good decisions when it comes for what you do, avoiding large crowds, socially distancing yourself, wearing a mask, because some other hard decisions will likely be ahead the first middle of next week. Some non-COVID related city news. This is actually some good news. Of course, earlier in the year, the city of Hattiesburg, the city of Petal, and Forrest County proposed a new Leaf and Bowie development district. This is a part that where both cities on either side of the Leaf and Bowie rivers had parcels and areas of town they wanted to redevelop. They wanted to see investment. This involves each city as well as the county diverting some of the property taxes that we already generate from that area to go back into that area for things like infrastructure or quality of life or recreational projects. Again, trying to reinvigorate these areas, East Hattiesburg and West Petal. And so all the City Council of Hattiesburg, the Board of Aldermen in Petal, the Board of Supervisors in Forrest County passed this unanimously earlier in the year, but this had to go to the legislature. And we're proud to say that our delegation, led by Representatives Missy McGee, Percy Watson, and Larry Byrd, were able to get this through the House. And then, of course, we appreciate our Senate delegation for seeing this through as well. And Governor Reeves signed House Bill 1649 earlier this week. And so we look forward to the long-term potential of having this river district there and what it could mean for both Forrest County, Hattiesburg, and Petal. And finally, our act of courage. Of course, donations right now when it comes to PPE remains important. And so today we had a Hattiesburg native and resident, Dr. Mitchell Krell, who works at Stennis Space Center with NASA, donated a large number of face shields for our first responders, for other critical city employees, and other folks in the community. And so these are the kind of acts that we need right now to continue to prepare us for what's going to be a long season, but also just to remind us that human kindness is among us, and we were going to get through this together. And as we go into the weekend, we hope you have a good weekend, but please remember to wash your hands, take care of yourself, wear a mask if you go out in public, do only what is essential, and remember, especially right now, you're safer at home. Have a great weekend.